He said it's great to see, Governor Bentley, a Republican, the president, a Democrat, coming together, politics aside, in situations like this. And it's often in the worst of times, we see the best come out of people. And this is a raw video of the president's tour right now you're watching come in.
Now, so President Obama is a Democrat, Richard Shelby is a Republican. What about the WASP?
I don't know, but that was nice they were able to help each other. Was it a wasp or a mosquito?
I think it was a wasp. That's what Governor Bentley said it was a wasp.
It was.
So
he would know.
We'll go with that. But I think the points made, I think hearing those three men speak, I can't help but sort of be impressed and say that the people of Tuscaloosa are in good hands. The mayor there quoting the book of Romans, talking about how a new story would be written. The governor inviting President Obama back to maybe go to a University of Alabama football game when things are better. The president said he'd like to do that. So a friendly visit for sure. And you can see this is a great example of, we've been talking about this most of the morning, and the governor alluded to it as well. When you're there on the ground, and you and I both were around South Mississippi during Katrina, we've seen tornado damage. From the sky and on television, it looks like one thing, but when you're down there looking at baby pictures, surrounded by it, it's hot, there are wasps all over you. Even the most powerful man in the world saw. Being there on the ground is an entirely different situation, and it really is an eye-opening experience. And this is a drive. Looks like we're driving through what appears to be
McAllister's.
Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
Yeah, McAllister's right over there is what we saw there for a moment. And again, I'm very familiar with the city of Tuscaloosa. I spent a short time there. I can't tell you where we are right now. It's hard to do simply because most of the landmarks one would use to identify where we are, they're gone. That looks like Forest Lake and the subdivision back there behind it, but frankly, without having kind of a broader view, it's hard to tell. What I can tell you we're looking at there is some significant tornado damage. Do you note the lack of any tall trees left really standing? There are a few back there, but the ones that are standing, they don't have any leaves left. Most of them have been snapped over. Also, the buildings. You'll note that looks like maybe some type of service station or strip mall. It's gutted. There's nothing left. And you look behind it there, just reduced to rubble. Now, take what you're seeing here and multiply it out. 1 mile wide, hundreds of miles long, perhaps. This tornado was on the ground for a long, long time. Mississippi to Georgia, we think. That's preliminary, but we have to watch. But this apparently is the route that President Obama took through what is left of Tuscaloosa.
And Josh, I know we're getting new information about the strength of these tornadoes that move through. And as you predicted, these were monster storms.
They were, yeah. This one has not been rated yet, and it will likely be some time before it is rated. The way this works, the National Weather Service, they have to call in something called the Quick Response Team, and that is a team of experts. They come in, they have specific indicators that they look at to evaluate the damage, and they do that. They evaluate the damage, and then they will assign a rating. So the Quick Response Team, they're in Alabama, so they will be, I think maybe in the next few days we'll get this, get a rating. So far today we know of an EF4 tornado in DeKalb County, an EF3 in Choctaw County, and an EF5 tornado in Mississippi. That's the first EF5 tornado in our country since 2008, and in Mississippi since 1966. So powerful storm over there, yeah.
And we know the president also toured the Alberta community and Holt Elementary School, which was significantly damaged by this tornado. And First Lady giving out lots of hugs to people today, thanking them for what they're doing. And of course, those folks thanking the First Lady and the president for coming to see this damage. But they talked about the resilience and the faith of the American people. And as we know, I keep saying, it's often in the worst times we see the best come out in people. And that's what we're seeing here again.
And we will see.
We will see. It will get better. It's hard to imagine for a lot of folks seeing this, but it will get better. We will bounce back.
Absolutely. And, I think this is, I don't want to say this is good. This is enlightening, I think, for our viewers to see what this looks like driving down the road. How long, up from a helicopter, it looks like it's a small little stretch, but when you're driving through it and it's mile after mile of just, look at that. There's nothing left. You cannot distinguish where a house was. Look at that. That's just, you see that one back there? It was just a foundation. That's all that was left. There's not even anything to sift through. Yeah, I mean, I've seen war zones that looked better.
It's hard to imagine this is our sweet home, Alabama.
Yeah, this is it. This is Tuscaloosa. This is a major city in Alabama. It is home of the one of the state's flagship universities, the University of Alabama, right there. It's a city of 83,000 people, and a giant section of it is in ruins. As you look out over that damage, and Sally, you know, I've been involved with some of the storm evaluations. When I worked in Mississippi, I went along, talked with the Weather Service people that do these things. Everything I'm seeing right there seems to, I would suggest this is an upper end EF4 tornado, or potentially perhaps a low end EF5, and that's not a phrase I wouldn't throw that out there lightly.
Is there any storm to compare this to that we've seen in recent memory?
Well, the Enterprise tornado was an EF4. The Prattville tornado was a little weaker than that. Now, here very recently, the Boone's Chapel tornado in Autauga County that killed 3 people, that was an EF3 tornado. So this looks like it was at least that powerful or more powerful than that one. So you can see kind of the just widespread damage here going on. By the way, speaking of Boone's Chapel, I want to say, and this is going to be a difficult thing because of the way the media works, and we're part of that, but we must not forget those tornado victims from April 15th and all the rush to help. And we want to help everyone that was affected by this outbreak. It's significant, it's more widespread, but those people who lost their property, lost their loved ones on the 15th, we're not forgetting you. We're still thinking about you up there in Boone's Chapel and Posey's Crossroads. It's just now, unfortunately, sadly, more people are sharing in that awful experience that you had to go through earlier this month.
Of course, Elmore County, close to home, here suffering up there as well. And you know, this is just one picture in Tuscaloosa. We're seeing the scene all across the state. The numbers are staggering: 213 dead, 1,700 injured. In Alabama Power reporting 250,000 people are still without power across the state.
That's 5% of Alabama's population, 250,000 in a state of 4.7 million. And again, this is raw video. This is coming to you from the press pool. And the way that works is one person shoots the video, and they then bring that back, and people get to see that. This is from NBC you're watching right now. That appears to be the SUV that the president and the governor were riding in back there. And you see the presidential seal of the United States on the side of it with the flags. And looks like a Chevrolet. I think we bought American. This is a good thing. But you also see the bad things involved here. And by the way, right there, look at that. This is just like what they did at Hurricane Katrina. This is standard search and rescue operation. There's an X in there to make sure that they know everybody, everyone who knows. Yeah, the X means they've inspected it. They've gone through it, and then they write on there also who lived, and if anyone passed away in that home, they'll also write that number underneath the X. So when I toured the lower 9th Ward in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, that's one of the most sobering experiences, to walk through a neighborhood and see those eerie red X's and know what they stand for.
Know someone lost their life.
Yeah, that's what that means. You don't think of a letter as conveying that deep of a message, but when you're there and you see it, and you see that letter and you know what it means, that can kind of hit home for you. Just the totality of this. I'm glad they zoomed in there. You just see it is a big maze of lives. That's what you're looking at back there. Those are photographs right there. It looks like a photograph or a book. There are numerous pieces of people's lives. That's what we're seeing.
To pick up their lives, literally.
Exactly. Yeah, this isn't just garbage. This isn't a garbage dump. These are these people's lives. Photographs, family heirlooms, clothing. A good friend of mine is a meteorologist in Tuscaloosa, a guy named Richard Scott. Great guy, great meteorologist. He was telling me that they were able to salvage their clothing, and his house was destroyed by this tornado. But the things that, if you haven't been through this, the things we take for granted are remarkable. Clothing, a roof over our head. Don't forget, too, it's been chilly outside, and most people don't have power. The low in Tuscaloosa last night was down in the lower 40s. So many people have tents. They're sleeping outside to sort of make sure no one messes with their stuff. This is not a fun experience for anyone.
And even the homes and businesses not affected by the storm are seeing something from the aftermath, and they can't operate. They don't have power.
Sure.
Shut down gas. Is scarce in some areas, so this has really touched everyone. And it will continue to do so. You know, in Hackleburg, a city north of Tuscaloosa, this was a different tornado altogether, but it's a small town in northwest Alabama. 1,500? 1,500 people, and the largest employer there, a big textiles plant, was totally destroyed. So
Many people not only lost their home, they lost their job. Yeah, you talk about just insult to injury. It's a 1-2 punch. Now, and understand, too, there are going to become stories of hope out of this. And one of those, Alberta School is being absorbed by a magnet school in Tuscaloosa. The flag from Alberta School the school was heavily damaged. The flag was ripped off the flagpole, blew miles away, but was recovered in a heap of rubble. There's a tag on it. They know where it came from. So next school year, when Alberta School becomes part of the magnet school in Tuscaloosa,